on shillings every year to invest in action financing released during the ongoing COP27 meeting in Egypt is urging multilateral lenders to double their funding to help developing countries deal with the climate change.
The issues of climate financing took center stage for the second day today at the ongoing COP27 meeting in Egypt, with Africa and other developing economies calling for increased lending from external financiers and multilateral lenders.
Intervention that we need, especially for developing countries and especially in Africa, is financing. Financing is the one thing that can make the difference. And every time we've been asked here as African leaders, we've talked about financing as the single biggest one. And we know that although Africa only contributes slightly less than 4% of emissions, they actually bear the brunt of the climatic issues, in particular floods and drought and food shortages that we are seeing in Africa.
Experts say that global leading development banks extended a total of $51 billion in funding to poorer countries last year, while private investors offered a total of $13 billion in the same period. Experts attending the climate change talks in Egypt says there is a need for rich countries to double their funding to developing countries to help them deal with climate change.
Without financing, we can't go forward. We know that there is commitment that was made about $100 billion. It hasn't been released. We know that only about $30 billion has been released so far, and that's only about 10% of what we need per year. So clearly, financing needs to continue to be on the table, and discussions need to continue to be had. But financing also needs to be homegrown, in the context of us coming up with solutions that are bankable, that where we can attract investment.
There is need to review the Act of Parliament and to make sure we realign it to the policy. We realign it also to the various rounds of negotiations that Kenya has been engaged in over the years. So that's a commitment that we as members of Parliament we are making, that we want to go back and ensure that the laws around climate change are fit for purpose.
Speakers at the COP27 meeting have also called for a doubling of grants and low-interest loans to developing countries in 3 years to $60 billion. O'Brien came in for Prime Edition.